Good morning. What I'm going to do this morning is we're going to put what they call a new nuke in my beehive. As well, everybody that knows me, I am definitely a bee novice. This summer my grandsons and I thought we would figure out how to keep bees. And I looked online and I found this company called Summerhawk Ranch, and they build beehives which have a little unique. They have mason jars in the top of them. So what happens is you put the beehive up, you set it up, and in the bottom there are 8 frames like any other beehive, and you put your bees in there, and then you take a wire that comes with it and you put it on the top to keep the queen in the bottom. I think they call it a queen excluder. But then on the top of it, it has a place for 9 mason jars. And you fill, the bees, once they fill the bottom, they go up through those little grates and they start putting honey and building hives in those mason jars. Go online to Summerhawk Ranch and you can find out all about it. So the grandsons and I started it about 8-10 weeks ago, and it was an awful lot of fun, but then all of a sudden I noticed our bees were disappearing, and a friend of mine came over and looked, and he said that my queen was gone. So with that being said, the hive will not reproduce. They won't have any new larvae. Bees live 30-40 days and they die off. So you've got to have a queen that's constantly reproducing new larvae and new bees. So with that being said, my hive is starting to die off. So I went and I bought a new nucleus. They call it a nucleus. It's this yellow box, and in that box is 5 frames. And in those frames, there's a queen, worker bees, drones, larvae at multiple different stages of development. So basically it's an overnight instant working beehive. I went and got it from a lady named Gina. I think at the end of this I'll flash her card on there so that you can contact her if it's something you need. Very knowledgeable on bees, told me an awful lot, taught me an awful lot. I really appreciated the information. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to take the old hive, the lid off of it. I'm going to take the frames out of it. I'm going to walk about 50 yards away from here. I'm going to shake those bees off. And we'll stop the video when I go up there and then we'll restart it. But the important reason for doing that is in the hive, there's a worker bee. They call them a worker bee that is actually laying eggs. But they're unfertilized eggs because she is not indeed a queen. So what these eggs will do is they'll develop, and they'll develop into drones, male bees, not worker bees. They won't enhance the hive. So the reason I'm taking it 50 feet away and dumping it is so she won't come back. She's too big, too heavy to probably fly back. So then when we open the hive, we'll take those up, shake them, we'll smoke the hive on the inside to get rid of any pheromone smell from the old queen. Then we'll take the nucleus, put it in the box, right in the center of the box, take the old frames that I have that have honey on them, put them on the outside, 1 on each side, and then when we shut it up, the new bees will run the hive. The old bees, good chance most of them will come back and they'll just join the hive like nothing ever happened. Most of them, hopefully. So just kind of letting you know that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to go ahead and get started taking this one apart. always want to be feeding your bees. So here's my bee food. It's 50-50 mix sugar and water. And all I really did is I took a mason jar and a very, very small finishing nail and put some holes in it. This is kind of a temporary setup for feeding the bees, and that's where I set the jar, you know, upside down here, and the bees come in and they drink up all of that sugar liquid. The one thing that Gina was telling me yesterday that someone told her when she started her beehive, the most important thing is to feed your bees. Feed them year round. They'll get pollen, they'll get flowers. I've got a big garden. They'll be eating a lot out of the garden, but you always want to be feeding your bees. This box, like I said, is set up for mason jars, but right now I'm just using it on top to feed them, because you want them to fill all the frames on the bottom first, because the bottom frames is what they use for their food all year and all winter. Kind of nice too about these for the grandkids is they've got these little windows, so actually the kids can come look inside and see the bees and what the bees are doing. And on top of it, this metal, they call it a queen excluder. The reason it's there is the workers can come up and they could fill the jars, but the queen can't get through these holes to come up, because if she did, you might end up with larvae in your honey jars. So at this point, I have my little bee tool, which in this case it's not going to really need it probably, but it's great for getting under frames to lift the frames out. And these frames, I'm just going to kind of stack them here for now. And these frames all come with the hive when you purchase the hive. As we can see, if you look a little closer here, there is where the bees are making the honey, and the white is where it's all capped off already. So we will take this, we basically want to get these bees off of this. And I'll try to set it over here aside for right now, because that'll go back in. I'm just looking here at some of the different bees. But I need to take these all and go up and shake them. If you look here, there's a lot more bees. And let me see real quick if you can zoom in on this, Matthew. See those little caps where it looks like a cell has a white top to it and it's kind of bulged out? What that is, that's a drone bee, where that worker bee had laid that egg and it's not a fertilized egg, so it'll end up producing nothing but a drone bee. So that's the reason we're wanting to take this up and shake it. I do believe that's her right there. So anyhow, we're going to turn the video off. I'm going to go up, shake these bees, and then we'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, so what we did, we took these frames and put them up there in the yard. We'll go back and brush them in a minute. I sprayed the inside of this box and the other part of this box with smoke to kind of get rid of the pheromone smell from the previous queen. I'm going to open this box up now, and I'm going to take these frames and put them in this box. There's a few bees. And the deal is to put these frames back into this box in the exact same order they came out of the nuke box. These frames are some kind of heavy, I tell you. They're loaded. A lot of bees, a lot of honey. They don't seem to be real happy. They don't seem to be real happy, but they're not too aggravated. So what we're going to do real quick is, there's a lot of bees left there yet, but they'll find their way. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go back up, get those other frames, shake a little bit off, bring them back, put them in this box, and we should be able to close everything up. Okay, so these are the frames that came out, and there's bees on here, and I basically just take a small brush, very softly get these bees off of here, because I'm going to take this frame and put it back in the hive. And I definitely want to make sure that I get all of them off, because I want to get that worker bee that's laying those drone eggs. I want to get her out of here, so that she does not come back to the hive and cause trouble. So clean these for anything else, but that's about it really. So we're going to go back down and we'll turn video back on when we're putting these in the hive. So welcome back. We've cleaned these off. All the old bees are gone up in the yard. They'll probably be back here in a minute. And I'm going to put these back in here on each side. Got to kind of be careful. You don't want to squish any bees if you can help it. And the idea is to get the frames in there tight so your bees don't end up building wax all over the sides. They stay on your frames. So you want to make sure you keep the frames in there pretty tight. Matthew, why don't you cut? Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we put the frames back in. We put the queen excluder on top so she can't get out. Now I'm going to put this back up, the second top back on. And as we talked about before earlier, feeding the bees, I want to make sure to set this back up inside so that we can feed them. As you see, it'll drip a little bit, not much, very tiny holes. Matter of fact, I had made some that I put in the nuke when I brought them home to feed them, and they drank about half of this bottle last night. So I'm going to pour it back into my other jar and fill it up. No need to waste good sugar water. Kind of interesting, they actually seem to be a whole lot more interested in the sugar water than they are in me. Then we put this screen on, and the neat thing about this screen is so that the bees don't get up into the attic of the roof for this little hive, because they'll get up in there and start building hive if you don't let them. So that'll keep them in there. Now we just take the roof, put it back on. And we're done. What I'll do is I'll leave the box setting right here with the bees that are still in the bottom of it and the lid, and over the next couple hours they'll all end up going into the hive. And then I'll take and put a strap around this. I always strap it to this table. I built this table so that, you know, wind, rain, critters can't knock this off or get the roof off of it. So anyways, like I said, I'm a bee novice. I'm learning. I think whenever we end up getting some honey to harvest in some jars with cones, I'll come back and update you guys. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the presentation, share it with your friends. Subscribe to the site. We're going to be doing a whole lot of other things. Thank you and have a great weekend.